Well then, we have great news for you. Kaieteur Radio presents a 50% discount on all radio advertisements only for a limited time. To advertise, contact us on 225-8465 or 226-7455 or email us at kaieteurradioads@gmail.com. You can even visit our office at 24 Saffron Street, Charlestown, Georgetown. Kaieteur Radio, covering you from coast to coast.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
I'm Kevin Smith. Let's get to the news in detail. Oil contracts are not set in stone. If there are fiscal arrangements that leave a country holding the short end of the proverbial stick, then renegotiation is not an unreasonable expectation. This is essentially the viewpoint of a report that was facilitated by the United Nations Development Programme. That report was written by Anthony Paul, principal consultant of the Association of Caribbean Energy Specialists Limited. In the document that was handed over since 2016, Paul noted that one of the basic rules of contract renegotiation is that the minute one party opens an agreement up for review, all terms are up for discussion. It means, therefore, that Guyana, during its review of the ExxonMobil oil deal in 2016, was in a position to renegotiate to the state's benefit all fiscal terms. Nothing was off limits. For future contracts, it was recommended that Guyana puts in place a strategy for renegotiating contracts. Paul said that this must include engaging an experienced negotiator. And now let's tell you, the Environmental Protection Agency recently disclosed that it is utilizing satellite data from NASA to keep track of flaring offshore by ESSO. According to the World Bank, flaring entails the burning of natural gas associated with oil extraction. The practice, which releases over 200 toxic chemicals into the atmosphere, has persisted from the beginning of oil production over 160 years ago. It takes place due to a range of issues, from market and economic constraints to a lack of appropriate regulation and political will. Given the environmental dangers associated with flaring, Joel Gravesend, who serves as the head of the EPA's Oil and Gas Department, has said that flaring is one of the key issues his agency pays attention to. Hence, it has been unceasing in its effort to build oversight capacity. And now let's tell you, President of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Adrian Saunders, has decried the lack of substantive appointments for the post of Chancellor and Chief Justice of the Judiciary in Guyana, stating emphatically that it is time to appoint permanent holders of the office. The call for immediate appointment of the Chancellor and CJ follows days after President of the Bar Association of Guyana, Pauline Chase, and Attorney General Anil Nadlal spoke of the impact which the non-appointments have had on the state of governance. For the past 17 years, the two top judicial posts were only held by persons acting in those capacities. Chase recalled that the absence of substantive office holders as an embarrassing state of affairs that needed to be corrected swiftly, while the AG noted that the legal formula, which requires the agreement between the president and opposition leader for the nominees to be appointed, has resulted in deadlock. And moving on, Senior Magistrate Leron Daly on Monday granted a lifetime restraining order against a Kitty businessman to ensure that he keeps 1,000 feet away from a woman who he allegedly assaulted. The businessman, Devanand Singh, the owner of Brands to Go stores, was charged on April 1st for the offenses of inflicting grievous bodily harm and threatening language. He denied both of the charges and was placed on $400,000 bail. The next hearing of the matter is set for May 6th. On Monday, the 25-year-old woman was successful in obtaining the restraining order against Singh. It was also ordered that the woman get her personal effects. The woman was the manager of his store. In other news, Guyanese fishermen might be heading for even more challenging times as an agreement between Guyana and Suriname to provide 150 licenses to local fishermen by the start of this year is yet to materialize. The issuance of these Suriname Coast licenses would allow Guyanese operators access to that country's offshore fishing grounds as a means of regularizing the operators who have over the years complained about high costs of acquiring fishing licenses through Suriname's middlemen and harassment by fishermen and Coast Guard operating in the Dutch territory. Vice President Bara Jagdeo said that the issue remained unresolved because there are individuals in Suriname who are benefiting from the current licensing system. Guyanese pay as much as $3,000 to $4,000 to use Suriname fishing licenses. Makita Quick's plan to visit her grandfather on Sunday ended abruptly after she was killed in a tragic accident around noon that day. The accident, which claimed the life of the 14-year-old Tuckville Secondary School student, occurred around 12 hours 30 on the E-Field Main Access Road, Sophia, Greater Georgetown. It is understood that the teen was heading to her grandfather's residence in D-Field with a younger sister when she met her demise. The two were traveling separately on their bicycles when the accident occurred. Police in a report stated Quick was riding south along the eastern side of the main access road when a motorcycle driven by Glenton Redman crashed into her. The police revealed that the 21-year-old motorcyclist who was speeding in the same direction was in a lying position on his motorcycle when he allegedly lost control and collided with the teen. Meanwhile, 18-year-old Odell Taylor of 1 Mile Wismar Linden is now dead after the motorcycle he was riding crashed into another on Sunday morning. According to police, the accident occurred about 7 hours 45 on the 1 Mile public road. The now dead teen was riding a motorcycle when he crashed into another motorcycle owned and ridden by 22-year-old David Narine. Reports suggest that Odell was speeding north along the western side of the 1 Mile public road while Narine was proceeding east out of Pinnett Street, heading to the 1 Mile public road. It is alleged that Narine failed to stop at the junction and collided with Odell, who was not wearing a helmet at the time.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
I'm GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. It's Tuesday, April 12th. Welcome to the National Outlook. Attorney General backs call for a new formula to appoint Chancellor Chief Justice. I'm glad that the Attorney General is in favor of what the Ghana Bar Association President, Ms. Pauline Chase, put out, that we need a new formula, that what we have is an embarrassing state of affairs. And what we have is this. We have a Chancellor of the Judiciary and a Chief Justice, two of the topmost positions in our judiciary, where the people who are holding those places have been acting for about 20 years now. 20 years, 20, not 20 months, not 20 weeks, but 20 years. If we can't get appointments of this crucial nature nailed down, if we can't agree on that, then, my brothers and sisters, what are we going to agree on? I mean, it's embarrassing that we have two women, the Chancellor acting, the Chief Justice acting, who've been held up for 2 decades. One side of the political equation looks for total control. The other one looks for the satisfaction of not losing ground. And in the meantime, we have these positions, these pivotal positions, caught up in our political wars. You know, to have people who are acting in these capacities for so long, these sensitive legal, judicial capacities, what does it say about the confidence that we have in them? What does it say about the trust that we have placed in them? What does it say about our concerns, about our thoughts, about their judicial ethics, their judicial wisdom, and to use a fancy word, their judicial skills, acumen, knowledge? It's not very flattering. I mean, if I were in those positions, I would have resigned a long time ago and give you the Italian handshake. And we all know what that means, right? I would have just said, you can take this job and stick it. But anyhow, these ladies are much more civilized than I am, so we move on. But it's good that the Attorney General, the Honorable Attorney General, has signaled his backing, his favor, looking favorably upon this formula. Whatever this formula is, we need something that will help us to get out of these impasses about Chancellor and Chief Justice and Police Commissioner and whatever else. The consultations that we are supposed to have, that's a dead end between the government and opposition, regardless which one is government and which one is opposition. People dig in their heels and we go nowhere. In the meantime, I'm looking at this, and why I brought this up is because justice is a national matter. And Exxon must be looking on at this and said, for 20 years they have two people acting. What's wrong with these people? Who are these people? These people means me and you. And that's degrading, isn't it? That's degrading. It's not just our leaders, it's all Guyanese. So the point is that we need this irresponsible, this disgraceful, this nationally degrading behavior standard needs to be put on end. Whatever the formula is, let it be something different, let it be something significant that we all can live with. I'm GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5 FM. Thank you for listening to the National Outlook.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Today, as we celebrate Emancipation Day, Freedom Day, I just want to say namaste to all the listeners out there. We should all ask ourselves, is Guyana free?
No.
And how free are we?
Definitely not. No.
Fellow citizens, my brothers and sisters, I'm happy to be back here tonight with all of you. Honestly, I didn't feel appreciated or missed that much until I was bombarded with messages on my phone asking where you're there. We miss you. Hope everything is okay with you. I did miss you guys too. Man, but you guys gotta remember, I have a life too, okay? And there's only so much time in a day. And also I can only do so much. So, having missed Friday, there's lots to talk about tonight. So let's catch up on what we have missed out. Today, as we are celebrating emancipation, freedom from slavery, chains and shackles, when our African brothers and sisters were forced to come here, till here in Guyana, by the white people and beaten to work on their plantations, now our plantations, to enrich them meaning the white folks, and develop their countries. You hear me? Their countries. Our ancestors were brought here, beaten, to take out the wealth from Guyana, to enrich them, their countries. The iron shackles were removed
Yes.
when 183 years ago,
Yes.
telling us we are free.
Yes.
You are now free to decide your fate. You are now free to choose and act for yourselves. But let me ask you this, brothers and sisters.
Are we free?
Are you really free? A Jamaican icon named Bob Marley once said that in order to be truly free, you have to free yourselves from mental slavery.
Yes.
And that is what we need to do today.
Definitely. Yesterday.
Now, more than ever. Because we are heading towards slavery all over again.
Definitely. We already there.
Let me repeat this. We are heading towards slavery all over again. But this time, not with shackles and chains. This time they are doing it in a modernized way, in a civilized manner. This one is economic slavery, economic colonization. In fact, I think when I look at what is happening with our oil and the other natural resources we have in this country, we are already enslaved all over again. That is what it feels like and looks like to me. Brothers and sisters, during slavery, with shackles and chains around you, the white people used to beat the slaves, to dig the country's wealth out so they could take it to their countries to enrich their families and their nations. This is why you see the white people countries, places like America and European countries, are today the shining stars of the world. Man, is everybody want a visa? Forgot to America and England these days. Let me make this clear to all of you, brothers and sisters. Is the wealth from countries like Guyana, Africa, India, and other parts of the world make them who they are today. To build all those skyscrapers, huge airports, and lovely railways and highways. Guyana, they said they freed you. Let me ask again.
Are we free?
Are you really free? Is Guyana's wealth really developing Guyana or another man's country? We are not free. They are back, tying us up with all these one-sided contracts that is ripping the flesh and blood out of our bodies. We are dying on our feet without knowing how the oil people, pouring billions and billions in expenses on us. Guyana is one big slave plantation all over again today.
Yes.
And everybody is quiet.
Yes.
Every single citizen of this nation is quiet. Ask yourselves, or look and see who is really benefiting from our gold, our diamond, bauxite, timber, and now our oil. What has changed from then to now with our country's wealth? You tell me. Please, because the only thing I can see is they remove the chains and the shackles from us.
Physical
but we are still slaves.
Yes.
And many of you don't know it.
And that's the sad part.
Remember, I said Bob Marley. He said it in a beautiful song. True freedom is freedom from mental slavery. Our minds are so enslaved that we can't think for ourselves, speak for ourselves, or act on our own behalf. Yes, we depend on the politicians to tell we how good we there and how good we gonna become. You guys can see they're joining with the ExxonMobils to enslave us, just like the white masters used to do back in those days, using the house slaves to entice the field slaves to be obedient to their masters. This is the reason why, guys, this is the reason why every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I try to enlighten and educate you on what is going on, what is taking place with your wealth, our children's wealth, so that you can begin to free your minds and open your eyes to this new type of slavery, what I call economic slavery. Yes, in this 21st century we in, Guyana are still slaves. And you need to understand that and wake up. Open your eyes to truly free yourselves. Guys, we are still slaves. This is a new form of slavery. Not for sugar and tobacco anymore, but with our oil, gold, and the rest of our resources. Guyana, we must be free to determine how our vast resources, our wealth, our assets is being managed. We must be the ones in charge. We must have the final say. We are the bosses. You are the bosses. The leaders of this nation have been put there. Let me tell you again, man. The leaders of this nation have been put there by you, the people, to work on your behalf, to protect our interests. Because Guyanese are the owners of every blade of grass. Yes, we are the owners of every drop of water, every pennyweight of gold, every piece of wood, and every drop of oil. Guys, when you begin to raise your voices to these leaders, telling them what you want, then and only then you will begin to see the first step towards economic freedom, true freedom, money freedom, money in your pocket to live the life you really want to live, the life you should be living, the life you deserve to be living with the kind of resources we have that belongs to you. Not President Ali, Vice President Jagdeo, Harman or Granger, not Rusal, not Baishan not Omai, not Troy Resources, not Aurora Gold Mines, and certainly not ExxonMobil, to decide what is for us with our own thing. No, man, no. They must not decide how much they will take for themselves. And we got to accept whatever they decide to throw at us. No, man. No. Please, let us don't accept that. It must be the other way around. We are the owners of this wealth. And we must be the ones who have the freedom to call the shots and tell them, this is not for me. This is for me and that is for you. That is what true economic freedom and emancipation means to Glenn Lal. What about you? What about you, Bernard? Tell your leaders to fix the Exxon contract, or tell them in a nice way to pack up and get out. We can't handle no more slavery. We went through too much. Our ancestries, our ancestors, our foreparents went through enough. Guys, how can you call a nation truly anticipated when foreigners coming here calling the shots on anything and everything? How the hell a nation can be free when foreign companies come in this country, take our wealth, pay less royalties than our own citizens, walks away without paying any taxes, destroy our country's infrastructure, the roads, bridges, and so on? Guys, open your eyes when you're moving around the country and you will see. You will see it's already happening all over. Yes, we are still slaves in this 21st century because Guyana's wealth, this country's wealth, is still being exploited by the foreigners in every sector, every second of the day, to fatten their countries and their people. That is what you call economic slavery, guys? Huh? And we have to free ourselves. We have to free ourselves from that. And we got to do it now. Stop sleeping. Wake up. Stand up. Defend and protect your property, your wealth, your resources. It's yours. It's your livelihood at stake. Man, during slavery, they had something called the cat o' nine tail that they used to use to beat our ancestors, to work in the fields, to fatten their pockets. Now our leaders joining with the foreigners, beating our children, not with the cat o' nine tail, but with tricks, skullduggery, and race talk, to get them to go along with the schemes the slave masters are now using. In the old days of slavery, I am told, they used to use some of our own brothers to beat our foreparents to keep them in line. Follow orders and make sure them do the work in the fields. They used to call them the overseers. Brothers and sisters, Guyanese, this time around, with this new type of slavery, this modern day slavery, the foreigners using our own politicians as overseers to do the same thing.
Definitely.
Keep us in line, follow their orders, dance to their tune, their music, putting us to fight against one another, turning us against each other, while their pockets, their friends' pockets, are running over with our wealth. Yes, they're using our politicians to keep us fighting among ourselves, and in the process, our children and their children's lunch kits empty. All of us are being robbed. Wake up, Guyana. They are using our politicians to divide and rule us. And while we fight, they fetch. Yes, we fight and them fetch. The old masters used to get the slaves for spy upon one another. Now the new ones, local and foreign, have surveillance cameras and systems, internet friends to hack us, and pay money to buy out our people. Is that not slavery? Isn't that a slavery system all over again, Bernard? Isn't the same operation going on? They're still hacking the Kaieteur News website every day. They're buying out reporters from all over who were exposing their moves, them thieving out with people just because they want to keep the nation in the dark as to what they're doing. They will thief or buy out anything or anyone who is opposed to their agenda. Yes, the slave master's mentality. You know why this is happening, guys? It is because of you. Many of you just plain dotish. Some of you can't see beyond your nose tip. Many of you can't open your eyes to see how you're being used and is just being kicked around the place like a political football for the politicians. Yeah, man. You can't see that they're in bed with these foreigners covering under the same blanket, working out deals to continue to economically enslave us all over again. You can't see that. I listened to an African pastor in the US yesterday in which he ridiculed his own people, the Africans, the non-whites in general. He said we are backward and stupid. We have no morals. We have no brains. We, the non-whites, the man said, have built nothing of significance in the world. He said all we know to do is build on grass and sand. Man, you got to hear how this man went on in the church to degrade us, non-whites. He compared Africa to the Western world and how they did nothing for themselves, and that's why they are living in so much poverty today. Man, if I could have reached through the TV and grabbed that idiot, they would have had to invent a charge for me for murdering a man through the TV. Because I have an answer for that fool, that idiot. Brothers and sisters, he is a perfect example of the third world leaders, like our leaders here too. He cannot begin to fathom. He cannot understand that the white man went into those countries fetch away every single thing that has value, and left them people with only the grass and the sun, not only to build on, but to live on. I want to meet and tell him, if a man fetch out every piece of wood, carry away every stone, carry away every piece of wealth, what are you going to build with? How are you going to uplift yourself? How are you going to develop your country? How are you going to build schools to educate your people? How are you going to build hospitals to take care of the sick? How are you going to better the people's lives if there's nothing left for the people? I wanted to ask him those questions, but I can't. I'm going to try to find him though online. Guyana, that is where we heading with these foreigners. And 30 years from now, you would hear leaders jumping up saying, like that same idiot, Guyanese didn't do nothing to develop the country. It's a good thing. It's a good thing though, we got enough sand and stone. So we ain't gonna build our houses on the grass, sand and the grass, according to that idiot. But for certain, starvation will be. Crime will be. It is already taking the streets now. I keep warning y'all every single day. Robb Street in Georgetown is becoming the name and nature. We carried that story yesterday where some people had to resort to robbing their people to live. Right on Robb Street. There's a feud going on there right now between the foreign people and the locals. They're robbing the foreign people every hour of the day, right there. Guys, this is the 21st century, and we really have to emancipate ourselves. Like I said, this freedom I'm talking about is not from shackles and chains, but economic freedom, money freedom. We can truly make this country into a Dubai overnight if we only demand what is rightfully ours. That is emancipation. That is true freedom. When we can raise our voices to fight, defend, and protect what belongs to all of us. Freedom. Yes, freedom. Hear this. Hear this one, please. When the Norwegian people can lay a 44-inch pipeline, a 725 miles long from Norway to England, and pay $3.8 million per mile, while ExxonMobil charging Guyana to lay a 12-inch pipeline, 140 miles long, 3 times smaller the size of Norway pipeline, at $4.7 million per mile. It speaks volumes as to who in charge of our freedom, our economic freedom. Let me repeat this thing for you, understand what I said there just now. Norway lay a pipeline, almost 4 feet pipeline, to England, and it cost them $3.8 million per mile. Guyana lay a 12-inch pipeline, 12 inches pipeline, and it costing them $4.7 million per mile. This is economic freedom. Are we really emancipated? Economically, guys?
Definitely not. Not at all.
Or is it economic slavery all over again?
Modern day slavery.
You tell me. How can a 12-inch pipeline cost $1 million American dollars more per mile than a pipeline 4 times the size? Can somebody tell me? Can somebody tell me the maths ExxonMobil is using to come up with these contract figures?
Take your food.
Wait, man. These people just wake up each day and just come up with these fees and these costs, throw it at us without us having a say and tell us just pay. Is this economic freedom or economic slavery? Man, tell me, man. Somebody tell me this thing, man. Mr. Jagdev is heading the gas to show the oil industry. Could he tell us something? We accept everything they tell us and do to us. Is that what we turn to in this land? Brothers and sisters, let me remind all of you. I am reminding you and I am repeating this. The Gas to Shore project. Gas to Shore project has landed many countries in starvation and debts that will take them generations to come out of. And that's where this man called Vice President Jagdeo and his team is taking Guyana. And guess what, brothers and sisters? Our opposition leader, Joseph Harman, is silent. They have not been telling this nation nothing whatsoever on this gas project. They have been silent on every aspect of Guyana's oil. Yeah, man. How can you say we are free when the leaders of this country is not allowing us to know, to see what is going on with our own wealth? We don't know how much oil coming up every day. We don't know how much going out each day. We don't know what is being spent every day. We don't know what is the interest rate we are paying. We don't know who's hiring who. We don't know who is checking where and what. We don't know how much we are paying for this and for that. We don't even know how our share is being calculated. We don't know who the oil is selling to and how much they're selling it for. We don't know how much money is coming out for anything. We basically knows nothing about anything going on out there. And it's not only that we don't know what is going on, we don't even have a say on our own wealth as to what is going on. Is this freedom to think? Freedom to have a say? Is this really economic freedom? Mr. Ali, Mr. Jagdeo, Mr. Granger, Mr. Harman, and all the parliamentarians, are you guys in a coma, or you want to put us all in a coma, back into slavery? Which one? Guys, Gas to Shore project, let's leave that out. Let's leave the pipeline. There is no guarantee that this project is healthy for Guyana. You hear me? Leave the pipeline out. There is no guarantee that this project is healthy for Guyana. Everything that is floating in the air points in the direction of disaster. A doomsday for Guyana. It's a travesty in the making. Hear this. It's a ticking time bomb. It is being designed to enrich a few private people and throw the Guyanese people back into slavery. Like I said, this time is economic slavery. And let me ask you guys, is this how Guyana going to develop into a first-class society? Building homes on rocks and steel with stone? Or will they be left to build on sand and grass without stone and steel? Guys, project like that, gas to shore, is to trap and enslave all of us again. Keep your head on. Keep your eyes open. Keep focused on what is going on. You see the difference? It's $1 million American difference for a mile to drop a 12-inch pipeline to the bottom of the ocean. Believe me, you're going to hear a statement coming out from ExxonMobil maybe tomorrow saying some Jim Crack McRam goat, trying to defend that inflated cost difference. Yes, is somebody pocket they want for put those millions in. Them will come up with some fancy language and technical terms to defend that cost. You might hear them say, snow there under the floor bed, and it's extremely difficult to lay that 12-inch pipeline. Yes, man, you might even hear we have steel mountains at the bottom of the ocean, and they have to go up and down to lay it right. All just to rob you blind and throw all of us back into slavery with debts that our grandchildren would not be able to repay. Brothers and sisters, do you know who is behind all of this? Yes, the politicians of this country. Every single thing they do in this land with the foreigners is overpriced and overcharged. That is what you call emancipation. Freedom to spend, freedom to thief, freedom to hunch your every part of your body. Yes, these shameless enslavers. That's who they are. That's what they are. I will continue to pray for all of them, like I said on many programs. And I'll continue to pray for ExxonMobil too. That pipeline story, guys, was in the Kaieteur News yesterday. Yeah, I can get more details by reading the full story. It's there, just Google it. We carried another story in which a man named Tom Zanzillo, a U.S. financial expert, they did an analysis of Guyana's oil operation and put out a report. Wow. I just want to give you a little piece of the findings. Wednesday coming, I'll expand on it. Please don't miss it. I know that you guys are going to love it. The man's report revealed for the first time, you hear me? For the first time, that ExxonMobil parent company were based in Texas. Them same people was supposed to sign the insurance document. I remember giving us full insurance coverage 2 years ago and haven't signed it until now. Yes. Them receiving hundreds of millions from our oil for doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. But give it a name. They call it PCO, Parent Company Overhead. You hear that, Bernard? Yeah, man. The people describe the PCO, the business circle. They describe it as support services, human resources, security, procurement, and so on. That's what they that's what we are paying them for. And that is being charged. That is being charged on a percentage basis. You hear that? For just standing up and looking over. The report said they are being paid millions. You want to hear this? They said before 2020, guys. The year 2020 talking about. ExxonMobil collected. The parent company collected 73 million American dollars. And in 2020, them collect 35 million. This year, they will be collecting 4 more. So they're going to be collecting 39 million American dollars this year. You hear how much money they're collecting? The report said next year, 2022, ExxonMobil parent company will be paid 53 million American dollars. And 2023, 64 million. And in 2024, they're set to collect $93 million. You hear them figures, sir? Mr. Tom Zanzilo, the director of the organization that did the report, went on to say, on those few years alone, is almost $500 million American dollar. ExxonMobil parent company collected alone as overlooking fees. You hear me, man? You remember how much Guyana get?
260 million.
Yes, 200 and something.
260
Yes. So ExxonMobil parent company alone,
to do nothing.
yes, already collected more than what Guyana collect. Actually, double what Guyana collect in 1 year.
Obviously, the islands belongs again, it belongs to ExxonMobil.
Economic freedom, you call that, Guyana? You hear me? Yes, it's economic freedom, you call that. Nations to come out of. And that's where this man called Vice President Jagdeo and his team is taking Guyana. And guess what, brothers and sisters? Our opposition leader, Joseph Harman, is silent. They have not been telling this nation nothing whatsoever on this gas project. They have been silent on every aspect of Guyana's oil. Yeah, man. How can you say we are free when the leaders of this country is not allowing us to know, to see what is going on with our